Welcome to the video demonstration of the Tally Revenue Management System. This video will talk about our user page and the internal components that help us display results to both group and transient requests. To begin with, let's talk about what makes a system function. Firstly, cells marked in gold, so you can clearly see here, are the variables that you as a user can control. These are the variable costs, the total ancillary costs, the group booking rooms right here. You have the walk multiple that you can control. You also have these two buttons right here, which is basically, one is the update for transient bookings, the other for group reservations. And last is this drop down menu, which it basically helps you select a date, which then helps you realize the different rate classes and the rent and the length of stays and which ones are open and closed for maximizing revenue.
Let's talk a little about the variables that you can control in the system. We have the variable cost per control, the total ancillary costs. Well, for your matter, these rates are dependent on your hotel costs and may change, and you may change them as is required. The ancillary costs are required for group reservations only, and here you may enter the overall ancillary costs that you estimate for group reservations. The third is the scroll button that you see right next to the walk multiple. That scroll button is a cost multiple of walking one guest per your ADR. The higher the walk cost, the less the hotel can overbook, because the walk multiple is inversely related to the OB level. In the group room section, which you see called the group bookings, we have the dates on one side, and you may enter the number of rooms requested by your guests on the other end. As you can clearly see, there's an example here which is 20th April onwards is the 40 rooms on the 21st, and the 22nd has 30, about 20 and 10 rooms on the 23rd.
Basically, now I'm going to be showing you an example of how we work on a reservation request that comes in for a transient guest. So let's say you have a requirement to have like maybe 3 people walk multiple, which means that you can have your cost for for walking a guest is 3 times your average ADR. Hence, in which case your overbooking level would be about 13. It's something that gets automatically calculated for you, so you don't actually have to worry about it. In this situation, now that you've actually decided to change your walk multiple to 3, we would want to update it to have that reflect on the rest of the system. Well, as we were talking about the update 1 button here, what you do is it works on the VBA tool, and what it does is that it picks up data from the previous month data that we already have associated here, and it then uses that data to come up with an overall revenue, which would help basically maximize your overall profitability. So when we click here for the update to happen, it's going to chug away, and we're going to get a result soon. As we can see, the number has changed, and the transient contribution now is $791,000, and the restrictions that were running behind has also changed based on the sensitivity reports that were printed prior to during the Visual Basic effect. This helps us to, so now, for example, let's say now you have to select a date for a particular arrival. You select 10th of April. You can notice that at a walk multiple of 3 and an overbooking level of 13. All different rate classes are open for reservation, whether you want to book for a $159 room for 1 night, or whether it's a $219 room for 3 nights. I mean, of course, as a revenue manager, you would want to sell at the higher level rates, but in this case, we can always sell at a rate of $159 depending on the guest's income or disposable income. So that's how we work the transient model. Now our video is going to show you an example of how we make how we get a group rate for the for group reservations that can come into the hotel. So firstly, let's remove these group rates that are already in the system, and as you can see, the group contribution, the rate, and everything is changed. What you need to actually do is, let's say you have a reservation requirement for 29th of April, and it's a requirement for 10 rooms for 3 nights. So obviously a rate of these rates aren't actually updated because they would change based on clicking off the update 1 and the update the group rate update button. Once we click on each of these consecutively, the rates will change, and they will actually reflect the real break-even group rate for 30 room night query from 29th to 1st of May. Let's just get through that right now. I'm going to click the update 1 button and then see what happens. Alright, now that the numbers here are updated, we can click on the group rate update for the actual break-even group rate for this reservation query. Okay, so as you can see, the break-even group rate is only $28, and mind you, this is because it's a break-even rate that takes into consideration your ancillary costs. Apart from that, let's say if there wasn't any ancillary costs and the ancillary costs were actually 0, you'd notice that the group rate, the break-even group rate would automatically move up to $161. And you can also go actually to the 29th of April from here to check what the transient reservation system says. So if you go to the 29th of April, we see that the 159 2-night stay onwards are open, and that means the rate of 169 is actually quite a valid rate. And again, keeping in mind the amount of ancillary contribution that comes in from this reservation, let's say if it's a $1,000 contribution, we see that we can have a break-even group rate of 128. That gives us the option to sell between from a minimum of 128 onwards to, well, of course, the maximum that you can charge, which is about $219 a night. And this basically ends our example for demonstration for the group rate. This part of the video is going to talk about the restrictions tab. Basically, as you can see here, we have the rate classes and the different lengths of stay. The restriction tab has basically all the data from where this user page is picking it from. So let me just show you that real quick. We click on this button here. That takes us to the restrictions page, and what you see here is that this restrictions tab and the data in it gives you information regarding the different lengths of stay, the dates, and the rate classes. So let's say you have guests who they have different dates, and you need to see the different lengths of stay for all of those dates, and you need to make a decision based on that. You can actually just come to the restrictions tab and look up the dates here, and it'll help you make an informed decision.
So now we'll talk about booking curves. booking curves visually show bookings from 0 days before arrival to 84 days before arrival. We have two different sheets that will be useful to the revenue manager. So the first is the booking curve, which shows one rate and one length of stay, which can be changed, so you can toggle between the 1 and 3, 1, 2, or 3 lengths of stay. And then you have to manually put in the different rates. So you can put in 189, and then you'll see the booking curves again for 1 to 3 lengths of stay for that rate. And finally, we have a 219 rate, and you can see the booking curve here. And then as well, within this graph, you can change between days of the week. Another tab that will be helpful as well in terms of booking curves is to look at all the booking curves together to see the trend that the hotel has overall, and it shows the booking curves. The trend in the booking curves helps to understand what type of traveler is coming to the hotel. So again, we see the 3 different rates, 159, 189, 219, and the length of stay, so 1 night, 2 night, 3 night for all of the different rates. And then within each of the booking graphs, we can toggle between the day of the week. So here we have Wednesday up for all of the rates and lengths of stay. And just overall, we see that Monday through Wednesday, the booking curves for these days of the week are generally above the average reservations on hand. We can also change to Thursday. And you'll see that Thursday is very close to average res on hand. If we were to change to Friday, we could see that on Fridays the hotel has little to no demand, and the demand it has is very low, very much below the average res on hand. So what this tells us is that the hotel should find some incentive to make people come to the hotel on the weekend. Therefore, this is primarily a business hotel where people are staying 1 or 2 nights, and they're coming on Mondays and Tuesdays and staying for 1 or 2 nights during the week. And this is how you can use the booking curves and how they can be very helpful to the revenue manager, and also help the hotel build a strategy around trying to get more demand on certain days. So we can go back to the user page now, and you're all set.
In this video demonstration of the Rally Revenue Management System, we have covered the use of the user page and booking curves to help you understand how to maximize your hotel's revenue for group and transient reservations.
Thank you for watching this demonstration.